everyone. Welcome to Three Things at Three. Hi, Jackie.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going great.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to be here with
Yes.
you and
Oh, me
excited
too.
to have you all here.
Yes.
And hope you'll join us all this week because I promise it's going to be a week you will never forget.
Yes, this is a great way to start the week.
Yes,
I'll tell you.
it
It really
is.
is inspiring.
It is.
For sure.
We are excited to have you here. Welcome to Three Things at Three, where theme number 1 is something to smile about, theme number 2 is something to learn, and theme number 3 is something to discover. Let's go. Hi everyone, welcome back to Three Things at Three. I've got Jackie here with me today, and I'm really looking forward to all this week because this week we are celebrating the difference makers.
Yeah. And
what we like to call it.
We have a lot of great ones.
Yes,
for sure.
we do.
Yes.
And we have some amazing organizations to introduce all of you to. And I'm just telling you right now, get the tissues out.
So
get
true.
the tissues out because
no,
I
we
know,
don't
where
have
did they go,
tissues.
Jackie? Because it really, it's I think it's really going to touch your heart today.
Yes, I agree.
So very excited. But to get started with theme number 1, something to make you smile, we have asked, we put a call out and asked for people in our own community to tell us about a difference maker in their life. And it could be big or small, it doesn't matter.
Right.
But we want to hear from what are you doing to make a difference, whether it's in your family or community.
Yes.
And they've been coming in hot, haven't they?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So we have some really amazing people in this world.
Yes,
for sure.
we do. And so we wanted to highlight just a couple of those ladies today. And we'll start out with Cheryl and Lynn. Let's take a look. All right, so go ahead, Jackie. Tell us what they're doing here.
We both volunteer at the Teacher's Desk in Buffalo, New York. This is an organization that offers free supplies to teachers in low-income schools. Teachers can shop twice a year and get up to $1,000 worth of supplies each trip. We were lucky enough to receive supplies while teaching, so we now give back by helping out.
Oh my goodness, I love that.
Isn't that
what a
so
great
cool?
idea.
Yeah, because it is hard. I mean, with supplies.
Oh, I remember.
Yes.
I remember very much so. So the fact that there's an organization like that in a community, I think what a wonderful thing.
Yes. It is really fun because there's such a shortage.
Yes.
I remember when as parents that we had to supply a lot of the stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
Yes.
Lynn and Cheryl, for volunteering your time. And I know again, because they're retired teachers, that kind of was their feeling of giving back.
Well, they understand.
Exactly.
Right? They've walked the walk, and so they understand exactly how it is.
So true, so true.
Yeah.
And what I thought was really kind of interesting about all of this is that Cheryl, while Lynn and Cheryl, Lynn had sent in this about what her and her friend were doing, Cheryl also sent in something that Lynn was doing. And I thought, this is so great. So Lynn, you're just like all over the place, doing good things. But this is what Cheryl says about Lynn. She said, my friend Lynn volunteers for several organizations. Many years ago, she attended the Citizens Police Academy in her town. She is now a part of the team that assists the officers at each new training. That led to being trained for the Certified Emergency Response Team. They are called on to assist with duties like directing pedestrians and traffic during events like parades. They also managed the emergency shelters during extreme weather events like snowstorms. In December of 22, she ended up staying much longer than she anticipated because her relief was unable to get there. The police had to take her home on Christmas Eve because her car was not accessible.
Wow.
Lynn,
That's fabulous.
who volunteers time to just stand outside and do that, which is such an important job.
It
But
is.
it's not something that someone really wants to do in the
Right.
heat or in the cold.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
I know. Or when it's raining or
Or
in
snowing.
extreme temperatures.
And I love that the police had to finally say, Lynn, it's time to go home.
Oh, that's
On Christmas
yeah.
Eve. So, and we met both of these ladies. I've known Cheryl for a little bit, but we met both of these ladies at Tug.
Yeah.
And it was so wonderful to know that, they're just doing such great things. So,
Yeah.
Lynn and Cheryl, thank you.
Yeah, well, and it's just
Thank
the
you for what
smallest
you're
of,
doing.
it's the smallest of things,
Yes,
honestly.
yes.
That make a big difference.
Big and small.
So,
and
for
if
sure.
you've got some extra time,
Yeah.
there's always times and seasons of life, right?
Right,
And I think that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on today, because we have a very special organization today that, wow, I don't know how many of you have heard of this, but it's called the Loose Ends. I keep wanting to say
Loose
Loose
Ends.
Threads.
Yes.
Loose Ends Project.
Yes.
And this is incredible. So this is what Jackie and I are going to share with you today for theme number 2. We have a wonderful interview
Yeah.
scheduled.
Yeah.
But as we move into theme number 2, I hope what Cheryl and Lynn have done has brought a smile to you today to think about. And let's take a quick look at a recap from what you may have missed the week prior. All right, let's do it. We looked at each other and just shook our heads. We said,
Are
no,
you kidding
no.
me?
I said, you're going to have to go home and change.
Yeah, exactly.
And she goes,
Last week's 3 at 3 shows are something you definitely don't want to miss.
if you love book clubs, then last week's shows were for you. We talked about The Nightingale, The Boys in the Boat, and The Giver of Stars. Each story was really amazing.
Then we took inspiration from each of these books and made some really beautiful items that you can use in your home and in your everyday life.
Just follow the links below to catch up on all the fun we had.
If you haven't discovered 3 at 3 yet, it's a show that covers everything quilting and sewing. This show encompasses the whole you and your creative way of life.
Remember, 3 at 3 is live Monday through Thursday at 3 p.m. Mountain Time, where we always have something to make you smile, something to learn, and something to discover. Let's go! All right, welcome back, everyone. So as we mentioned before, this week we're talking about the difference makers, and we're highlighting several different organizations that I think many of you are going to connect to all this week. And one of the things that really brought this to my attention is something that I hear quite often from members of our community, our quilting community especially, that say, I've had a loved one pass and they have all these unfinished projects, and I want to be able to help someone to finish them, or find someone who can help me finish them. Or maybe you don't even know that that is a possibility. That's what I
Right.
should say.
Yes.
So,
Exactly.
know, Jackie, you just experienced this very thing with your mom's passing. Tell us a little bit about that.
I said, you never know when, a life-altering thing is going to happen.
Yeah.
You think that your parents are going to live forever,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And my mother was an avid crocheter,
Uh-huh.
and she loved to do quilting, but her passion was crocheting and knitting.
Yeah.
And so as we were going through all of her stuff,
Yeah.
I came across all kinds of stuff that she had started. And so I can totally relate to this.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know. It's still too new for me
Yeah.
to finish it. But after learning about this organization, I'm like, wow, that's pretty amazing.
It
and
is
very
pretty
touching.
amazing.
Very touching.
Absolutely. When I discovered this organization, looseends project.org, I knew that I had to share it with our community for this very reason. So, like I said, get the tissues ready. But I would
So
like
true.
to go ahead and welcome the founders of looseends project.org. And if they're joining us live, let's go ahead and bring them up on the screen. Hello, Macy and Jen. Oh my
Hello.
goodness, these
Hi.
two are incredible human beings. Let's see, Jen, you're joining us from Washington?
Yeah, Seattle, Washington.
From Seattle.
Yeah.
And Macy is in Maine, two completely different parts of the country.
Yes.
I love that.
Three
Oh
different
my
time
goodness.
zones. Yay.
3 different time zones
Yeah.
we're figuring out today. What a team, what a team.
We did it.
I want to just give kind of a quick introduction about the two of you. So we've got a picture of both of you that I want to bring up. It's beautiful. And to let you know that the idea for Loose Ends came about when the founders, Jen Simonik and Macy Kaplan, both avid knitters, realized they had a shared experience. Friends would often ask them to finish blankets, sweaters, or other projects left undone by deceased loved ones. They always do so enthusiastically, understanding what it feels like to wear something a loved one has made. So I love the tagline of your image here that says, started with love by them, finished with care by us. Oh my goodness, you two.
Wow.
Okay, tell us.
The chills are starting.
Yes, they are. I think a lot of us can relate to this.
Yeah.
Tell me how it started.
Well, I'll get started, Macy, and then you can jump in.
Okay, sounds good.
So Macy and I have been friends for about 30 years. We have husbands that went to the same school, and we ended up making friends because, you know, you go to things and the other person there doesn't want to talk about architecture, is knitting, and you're like, hey, that'll be fun. I'll hang out with that person. And 30 years later, we were at another one of these organizational things. We were at another party, and our friend Patty said, oh, I'm so happy to see you. Her mom had just passed. And being a crafter, as happens in the quilting world, somebody says, oh, I know that you are a quilter. My mom has this entire room of stuff, and I would love for you to have it. And as a quilter or a crafter, you know that you might not really want it. But you love that person, and you're going to go through their stuff and make sure it gets used correctly so that, you know, their items aren't lost. And so as we were going through all these things from Patty, you know, the needles, sorting out the different types of fibers that they had, she pulled out 2 crocheted blankets that had just been started, one for each of her brothers, and asked us if we would want to finish it. And as I was sitting there going, oh, okay, I guess I'll do this. I am a crocheter, but not a great one. I love to knit, but crocheting's not my favorite. But it's my friend Patty, so you do things for your friends. Macy said, remember that idea we talked about? Maybe we could get somebody else to do this who would really like to do it. And the germ of the idea started, and we went home to our separate coasts, and Macy, who's a graphic designer, came up with our logo and our website. Sheets to put up all over the place. I think the first couple of flyers had my home phone number on it. And we just kind of went on the internet and asked people if they wanted to help. And within about a month, we had 150 people who were like, yeah, I'll help. And then in December, we got a little press, and then we had 20 projects and 500 finishers. And then we started getting requests for quilters. And then the Washington Post wrote about us, and that's kind of it's kind of gone crazy from there. And Macy, you want to give the up-to-date stats?
That's amazing.
Sure, yeah. So like Jen said, we started out with just 5 pilot projects that all belong to friends. We kind of
Wow.
got our close friends to trust us and trust this idea. And let's say we started 2 years ago. We became an official nonprofit 1 year ago. And in that time, we've grown to have more than 27,000 people sign up to become volunteers.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
That's a
Yeah,
lot.
it started with just knitting, crochet, and quilting. And it's grown to be more than 30 different textile crafts.
Wow.
If it's made with string, we'll try to find somebody who can do it. People have signed up from 65 different countries to volunteer. And we have projects going in 13 or 14 different countries right now. So,
Wow. Who did you ever imagine that it would turn into something like this?
no,
No.
not quite. We kind of knew it was going to be, I mean, Jen and I had been talking about it for a few years before it launched. Like we were playing around with it, but the timing wasn't right until we were together at our friend Patty's house. And
Wow.
we kind of had a feeling that it was going to be, there was a need,
Yeah.
there was a need. So that wasn't a surprise. The way it kind of blew up like all over the place, that was kind of a surprise. Like, I don't think we knew it was going to be so fast, I guess.
Well,
And it's funny because we knew it was important.
yes.
And we talked, it depend, I mean, it kind of, not to badmouth men, but it was a lot of women who were like, yeah, I get it. And we'd
yes,
have to
we do
explain
get
it
it,
a couple
yeah.
times to men who didn't get it. We're
So
like, it's
Jen,
okay.
why is it important? Why is it important that something is finished and is able to be, given back to a family?
I think it's because there's so much labor and time and care that's put into these projects, and they're usually made for somebody that is definitely loved by the person, and it's like a last act of that crafter, and to let it sit and just decay it's kind of a shame, because we know that it costs money, it costs time, and to not acknowledge that is a shame. And and all crafters know that we're gonna die with projects that are not finished.
Of
It's
course,
just a
yeah.
matter of having a plan for it.
Yeah.
And it's also a lot of times people will take these objects, and there's a lot of guilt behind it. Like, my mom always hoped that I could learn how to crochet. Like, you're talking on a thing about quilting. You have skills, but your mom passed away with crochet, so you
Right.
get it. Like, it's
Well,
an
and
important
it's something
thing.
that I think you're right. Like we all might go, wow, I have, hundreds of unfinished projects, right? And that's not the whole idea. Really the idea is, what is the 1 or 2 projects that is going to mean the most to that unborn grandchild, or to someone that you were making something especially for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
the
one of the
remembrance
things that
part of it.
we like to remind people that, like,
Yeah.
with knitting, with crochet, the string, and even with quilting and sewing, the person who was originally crafting that, their hands were all over that. Like,
Yes.
every little inch of that yarn slipped through their fingers. Every single bit of those pieces of fabric were pushed through a sewing machine by their hands. And so to get that back from a loved one who's passed away, it's a very tangible reminder of them. Like, it's something you can wear, it's something you can put on your bed, you can be surrounded by it
And you feel
and
them.
feel their
Yeah.
presence. Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of
I
people, a
really
lot
that.
of the
Smells.
people,
Even
I mean,
the
even
smell,
the
yes.
smells. I'm even thinking, that, wow, that just would bring back those memories.
Well, the AARP actually did a beautiful, montage of what your organization is doing. And if you don't mind, we'd love to share a little bit from that. Let's take a look.
There's people who've been carrying projects around for 40 years because they didn't want to let it go, but they didn't know who would help them.
My name is Macy Kaplan.
And I'm Jen Simonik, and we're the co-founders of Loose Ends Project.
We finish projects that people have left behind after they've died.
What happens is we get a request from people whose loved ones have died, and we're in the middle of a craft.
We connect volunteer crafters with that project who complete the projects and then return them back to the original families.
The emotional impact, it's overwhelming. I've had people say, I was excited to get the object back, but when I got it back, the floodgates just opened.
To have something tangible from the person that you've lost, I think that is comforting.
We're not going to bring that person back, but what it can do is remind you of that loved one and what they did and why it was special to them.
Wow. Incredible. Does that just give you goosebumps,
Yeah,
Jackie?
it really does. And
It's
I
a
even loved
beautiful
I
thing.
said it is, and
Yeah.
to read the stories,
Yes.
it's amazing on
Yes.
their website
Yes,
or on the
so
Facebook.
many stories. And so when I was preparing for our interview today, I was just blown away by all of the stories that have been shared on social media. And it was difficult to find
Yeah.
ones that I wanted to highlight and ones that I was like, well, this is so good, but I don't like it. We would be here all day, be sharing these
I know.
stories. But I did choose a few that really stood out to me. So if you don't mind, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of these because each of them tell a story, something that I think a lot of you can connect with. So this first one is Penny battling dementia. And I wanted to share this story because Jen and Macy, I think one of the things that you've done so well is it's not just for those who have passed on, but perhaps are not able to complete a project due to illness, due to something like dementia or Alzheimer's or things like that, that they're not able to do this anymore. So let's take a look at this one. What a sweet, sweet photo. So Jackie, tell us about this.
Yeah. Penny is battling dementia, so she wasn't able to complete her beautiful quilt. But she recognized her quilt blocks immediately and cried when she realized that it had been completed. Thank you for allowing me to be part of such a wonderful organization. Look at that emotion.
And that's from Kristen, who's a loose ends
Yes.
finisher.
Yes.
So was that something that both of you thought to yourself, okay, this is more than just those who have passed away? How did you come to that conclusion?
Well, before we started Loose Ends, we asked advice from a lot of people and tried to solve any problems we could think of before they were problems. Like what kinds of things might we not be thinking about? And in that, I was talking to actually a computer programmer who is also a knitwear pattern designer, and she said, what are you going to do if the person has cats? What are you going to do if somebody isn't deceased but just can no longer do the craft because they're losing their eyesight or they're have an illness? What are you going to do if there's a smoker in the house? Like she just kind of brought a lot of things to light that we needed to think about just so that we could make good matches happen. And we pretty much decided unanimously right away that it would be okay if it wasn't that someone was, if it was just that someone couldn't do their craft anymore because they were ill, because their hands weren't working the way they used to, because their eyesight was going, because their dementia or other illness. Absolutely,
that.
Yeah.
absolutely. That was, we didn't even have to think about that. That was a yes.
Yeah.
And then we had to try to solve for cats and smoke, which
Sure.
hasn't been, we've also figured out. And all of those things are welcome too. Like everything is welcome. We just need to factor that in when we're doing the matchmaking.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And you definitely are matchmakers, which I love. And we'll share a little bit more about how that works in a few moments. But let's take a next look at Holly and Todd. Now, this really touched me because this was a project that was begun by Holly. You can actually see her there knitting. And she was so excited because she was actually knitting this for her soon-to-be husband. But unfortunately, Holly died of pancreatic cancer in 2020. And she was making this sweater for Todd. And she had bought the yarn on a trip to Ireland with him. So of course this was very, very meaningful to the both of them. And I just love that we have a photo of this, of her working on the sweater while she sits next to Todd. And again, she passed away. And let's take a look at this picture. Here's Todd with the completed sweater. And this was finished by Sharon, who was a loose ends project finisher. And, you know, this was something that Todd himself could not have finished on his own. No. And the fact that you were able to match this half-done sweater with Sharon, who is what you call a finisher. Now Todd has that special sweater from her, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it was important to us to be able to honor the dead, but also honor the crafter that's there and having just having difficulties in it. There have been times where a project has come in where all of the pieces are there and they just need to be sewn together. Sometimes projects come in where the intention was there and you know, there's one child that doesn't have the blanket, but the pattern is there and all the yarn was bought for him. So there's a lot of different situations that we'll take into account.
This next photo is Beatty's dad, and this, oh wow, this touched my heart too. Go ahead and tell us about this one, Jackie.
Oh,
Look at this photograph. Oh,
yeah, he's like, that emotion. I've had a partially finished sweater that my mom started knitting in 2011 for my dad. She died in 2013 and was never able to complete it. I brought it home thinking I might learn to knit and finish it. I never did. Loose Ends contacted me today to inform me that they found a knitter in my hometown who has agreed to complete the projects. She is going to lay hands on the yarn and sweater pieces that my mom's hands held with so much love for her husband, my father. Won't my dad be surprised to receive such an unexpected gift on his 99th birthday?
oh. And he did receive that gift, and I saw another photograph of him having received it, and I just can't even imagine the emotion
Right.
that comes with something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really, really touching. In most cases, we don't ever impose any kind of deadlines on people's work. So if a volunteer raises their hand and they want to help, we never rush them. We never push for them to hurry up. We never say it needs to be done by a certain time. But there are occasions when the finish date is important, but it's always told, we always talk about it in advance. So if there's a special birthday coming up, like in this case, or if there's like something happening for a little one who is going to outgrow it, unless it's done kind of quickly, we'll take that into account. Without even asking, this is kind of really sweet. We noticed that around Mother's Day, a lot of our finishers are just racing to a finish. Like they impose that finish line on themselves. They're like, I really want to get this done for them by Mother's Day because they know it will be really special.
Yeah.
Wow, that is incredible. Oh my goodness, so many stories. I mean, every day, do you guys just cry when you see these photographs coming in and know what a difference you've made?
Yeah. I mean, I cry every day. But sometimes we get some silly ones where they just make you smile and laugh. We had one where a friend's mom was supposed to make a dissected frog, and I had just gotten off sending an email. It was a knit dissected frog because she's a biology teacher. And I just got off an email where it was very tragic circumstances. And then I opened up the email from the finisher saying, I learned how to felt so I could make the liver today. And I was like, okay, that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous statement. But I'm so happy that you just told me that. So
I love that.
So
I want to share the
there's
story
a lot of joy in
Latonia.
this too.
Oh, absolutely. so much joy. I would say for both the person who's finishing it and the person who's receiving it.
Oh.
Right?
Totally.
Absolutely. Right? Because
Oh
like
my
being
goodness.
able to be generous to another person is its own gift.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
The gift is
Yes.
in the receiving, but the gift is also in the giving. Like we all like
That
to
is
give.
absolutely right.
Couldn't have been said better, for sure.
You know, there was years ago, I heard a quote that I've never forgotten that I would say fits right in very well with what we're talking about. And I hope I do it justice by saying it, by repeating this. But he said, when a bouquet of flowers is given, the fragrance often stays on the hands of the giver. And I think that is so true. Like there is something special that happens in our own lives
Yeah.
when we're able to do something like that.
Right.
Yeah. Latonia, I want to share this story. Latonia was diagnosed with a terminal brain tumor in 2013 and had passed away in November of 2014. And this kind of, it's a little bit longer story, so I'm just going to summarize it. But basically, she had started this cross stitch, and she had wanted to give it to a future grandchild. And she had gotten just some of the letters done, but not all of them. And your organization was able to find a finisher, which was, his name was Isaiah. And Isaiah is the second one on the left that you see. So I love that we have a gentleman here in this photo. And he decided that he was going to finish this cross stitch for the grandchild. And I loved that it said here that he would send photos every Sunday to show the progress to the family of what he had made. He had put in well over 100 hours of work. And
Easily.
what I especially loved is that in order, like, they agreed to this with the family. They wanted to differentiate between Latonia's work and his work. So he would make the letters of the sampler blue, leaving Latonia's letters green.
Oh, I
Oh
see that.
my goodness, do you see the difference there?
Yes.
And that was really touching to me.
Yes.
That they got to see, the family got to see what was Latonia's and what was able to be finished. And so, and he had said that, you know, every stitch was perfect that Latonia had done. And what a beautiful gift, again, to give to the family.
Well, it's a forever friendship. I mean, it's a connection
Yes.
that you're always going to have.
And I think that's something that you do really well. This would probably take us into a good lead-in on being a matchmaker, right? Because tell us what some of those things, you know, how does this come to be?
So I think a lot of people think that Macy and I are sitting at home feverishly finishing all these projects, and that is just not true. We're trying to desperately
It would be
finish our own
impossible.
projects. Yeah. So what we do in reality is it started with spreadsheets. You know, when we had 500 finishers, we'd look around to see how close somebody was to another person. We'd send things in the mail, which is a little sketchy. As we grew as an organization and as people signed up. So if you're thinking about doing this as a finisher, we'd love to have you, because the more finishers we have, the easier it is to match. Because what we like to do is when we match somebody, where are you located? Are you close? Can you guys meet up in person? That would be ideal for us. I'd love for everybody to meet their finisher in person. 2, do you have the skill that's needed to do this project? And people do self-assessments. We ask them, we send a lot of emails. We send pictures of the project. We send as much information of the project as possible to our potential finisher and say, hey, is this something you want to do? And the last thing is, do you want to do it? You know, is this something you want to do? I might know how to crochet, but I don't want to make a crochet blanket. Like, I don't want to do it. That's not something I want to do. So make sure that it's something that somebody wants to do. And those are the 3 big things. And then we look at, you know, is there a smoker in your house? Do we need to match you with another smoker? Are you left-handed? Are you right-handed? Those things matter for different crafts. Are you a hand quilter? Are you a machine quilter? Because that would matter based on what the project was started. So that's where Macy and I are integral to this. We have one part-time helper now, Angelica, who does match projects all day long, or all day long, part-time. And what we are able to do is match people with the projects, get updates to find out how things are going, and then get those projects back to people. And hopefully they are close by. We've been able to match with the 27,000 finishers we have. We've been able to match people in like blocks away from each other, which is wonderful because then
Wow.
they can go and have coffee and meet up.
Yes.
We've had people say things like, "You don't need to check on us anymore. We're friends. We're good. We got this." We're like, okay.
I love that. I mean, look at the difference you're making within communities too. It's like a community within a community. So now they have a new friend as well.
Yeah.
I love that. In fact, I remember reading one story where the finisher, she was able to help finish this crochet project, but then she decided, they became such good friends, and she said, "Let me teach you how to crochet." And it was like her mother being there, and she was able to then teach her, and they started this lifelong friendship that I'm just like blown away by. I think it's just incredible.
Yeah.
So, all right, there's 3 ways that if you're watching, that you can get involved. So I would love, Macy and Jen, if you shared a little bit more about this. And the first way to do that is to submit a project. Tell us what that means exactly.
So you can go to our website, which is looseends.org, and there's a button there that says submit a project. We've tried to make it as simple as possible. We're going to ask you some questions. We're going to ask you to send some pictures of the project. If you don't know what you have, that's okay. We have teams of people helping us diagnose problems or identify stitches. It's going to ask for a pattern. It's going to ask if you have materials left over. And we want to be able to see that stuff because, like Jen said earlier, it's humans, it's us with our eyes and our brains just making these connections happen. And the more information we have, the better. So, and that's it. You hit send, and then it comes to us. We're able to make the match, and then there's just a lot of emailing back and forth. But then eventually, sometimes within a day, sometimes it's a week. Once the match has been made, we reach out by email. So that's how you submit a project. It's also want to mention that it's completely free of charge.
Okay. That's good to know too.
Yeah.
How wonderful, because this is all volunteers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have 27,000 finishers out there.
Yeah.
You need some more projects, right?
We definitely need new projects. That would be great. We can always use a new finisher. It seems counterproductive. You've got 27,000, but I like to think of us as the Red Cross of crafts. I used to teach CPR. I taught thousands of people CPR in my time as a trainer. I hope to God no one ever had to use CPR. It's pretty awful to do CPR.
Right.
This is not as awful as CPR, but you don't know where the need's going to be. So anybody signing up with whatever skill they have, they're always welcome, because you might sign up tomorrow because you saw a podcast like this, and you are matched immediately because someone else saw this podcast and had a project, or you might be waiting. We've had people who are waiting. We do have a Facebook group of finishers who are like I like to think of them as the Scoobies. They're the ones that tell us what needs to be done on a project when we have questions. We have about 10,000 people in a Facebook group, and very little flaming out or spamming of people, which is unheard of.
Yes.
With 3
that's
moderators,
wonderful.
we manage it all. And we can always use more finishers. Just don't be surprised if you don't get a project right away. We intend to be here for a while. So
Cool.
we will get the projects when we get them, and we are always happy for more help.
Well, and I think, like you said, because you really do try to match someone as close as you can to that community. So, one of the ways that I thought was interesting on your website, and anyone can go to looseends.org or looseensproject.org, both will
Either
take
one,
you there.
yeah.
And we had a QR code on the screen as well that will take you right there if you want to take a picture with your phone. But I think one of the things that really just went, oh, that's such a good idea, is you have a flyer that people could download and print out, and you encourage people to take this and put them at nursing homes, perhaps on, they always have community bulletin boards, because a lot of people don't know that this is something that's even out there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we've tried to have the flyer translated into multiple languages. And when finishers are waiting for a project with varying degrees of patience, there's still a way that they can connect and help. And also, when you share your flyer locally in your own community, that increases the chances of projects coming in from your own community, which increases the chances of it getting matched with you. So, and we really, we started out in a very grassroots way. Jen and I going door to door to yarn shops and nursing homes and libraries and fabric stores and handing the flyer out. That's really the very first thing we did.
Yeah.
And it's still very effective. People say that they found us that way. So we love it when people are willing to share the flyer.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
we've got flyers in 20 languages so far. So if you
Wow.
happen upon our website and you're like, you don't have it in my language, let us know.
Let you know.
If you're willing to help us,
So,
we'll get
this
it up
is
there.
something that we can do all around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love this. I love this so
And we
much.
are doing it all around the world. We have
And you
projects
are.
in 13 different countries. So
That's incredible.
yeah.
So if you're watching this, I would encourage you to check out their website, looseensproject.org. Find the flyer, download it, print it, maybe even pass it out to your guild and see if they can help, spread the word about this. Because again, if you're wanting to be a volunteer, meaning you're wanting to be a finisher, we need more projects within your own community. And let me tell you, everybody has them.
Yes, they do.
Right?
Yeah.
But we just don't know that this is even something that's available, which I love. So one way to help is how to submit a project, and that's all of this is on their website. 2, how to become a finisher, and Jen and Macy talked about that. 3, there's a third way, and that's how to donate. Tell us a little bit more about that.
We have on our webpage, we have a donate page. You can push a button and donate. We use an organization called Zephy, which doesn't cost anybody any fees to donate. And it's a real easy way to support our work. We also will work with other companies. If you have a company that would like to work with us as a partner, we do that. So lots of ways to donate. The only donations we don't take are material supplies. Everybody's got a
important to
stash,
say
and
that,
a lot of
yes.
people come to us asking about that. But because it's such a thing that everyone asks about, we do have a list of places that will take your supplies, divided by state. We don't have all of them, but we have as many as we have come up with. So it's another resource.
I did
that you
see
can
that
use.
resource on your website as well, and that's an excellent, and just an excellent resource because, please remember they don't need more materials.
Yeah.
They just need finishers. Right.
Yeah.
They need finishers and they need some projects. But they do give us some great ideas of where we can donate even within our own states, which I absolutely love. Here's a question that just came to my mind because we have a lot of men and women in our community who are also long arm quilters. Are you looking for that as well?
Definitely. So
Okay.
definitely. And the thing is, it's not like we're going to use that one long arm quilter to do every quilting project that comes in. It's very specific to the area because these projects, to put them in the mail is scary for people, and to put a quilt in the mail is expensive. So if you do have long arm skills, do not be afraid that we're taking your job, or we want to,
Sure.
make you do it all the time. It would be it's probably a once in a lifetime kind of thing. But we would love anybody who has a long arm quilt machine to help us.
Long arm, I would imagine lots of unfinished quilt tops out
Yeah.
there. And if it could be long armed and bound, what a
Right.
beautiful gift
Yes,
to
it
give.
would.
I've seen where rug hooking, where cross stitch, I mean, all of these things.
Yeah.
I think it's just such an amazing organization that the two of you started just because you saw a need. And I just want to give you all the kudos in the world to
Yeah.
say thank you.
Yes.
And it's so heartfelt to say thank you today,
Yeah.
because it's a beautiful thing that you started.
It is.
Thank you.
You. And
Do you
it's
have any
we're so
closing
grateful
thoughts?
for all the people who sign up to help. We're
Yeah.
a community.
Yeah.
Jen and I are just two people of more than 27,000 people who are working towards this. And we have in the last year, more than 40,000 hours have been logged
Wow.
of volunteer work. So people have just been amazing and generous and so over the top wonderful. And we didn't mention this before, but it's difficult to know exactly how many projects have been finished. We know it's more than 2,000, but we are guessing that it's maybe even 50% more than that, because so many times people will get a project and there will be 2 projects in the box, or there will be extra yarn after, and they will just use it up and make little quilts with it, or make a couple of hats, and so people are just been so generous and
I
amazing.
saw where someone had knitted a sweater for a little boy that his grandmother had started.
Oh.
Okay, didn't finish. And then they took the leftover yarn and they ended up knitting some mittens and
to
then
go
put a
with
little
it?
heart in the palm.
Oh, I saw that.
Is that
Yeah.
so incredible? I mean, there are so many amazing stories. I want our audience to be sure and check them out on social media too. If you need that little uplift every day, and don't we all, especially in the world we live in right now, we need that little
Yes,
positivity.
We do.
Be sure and follow Loose Ends, because you can't help every day but have that little pick-me-up by seeing what the kindness of strangers will do for people. And that's something you always use on all your photos. You have the hashtag kindness of strangers. And I absolutely love that. I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
It's just really
Thank
important
you
to
so
understand
much.
that there's people out there willing to help no matter what.
Yeah.
We live in really divisive times, and our helpers come from all over. They're not one type of person. They're human, and they want to help because they know other people are experiencing grief. And I think we spend a lot of time looking at all the things that divide us, and this is one of the things that brings us together. Is craft is
Oh,
something
my
that's
goodness.
universal.
Yes, the unity.
Absolutely, the unity of that.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. Jen, I'm kind of smiling from ear to ear right now because you're working on a project as we speak.
I am, but I had to rip it out earlier. It's a sweater. That was
Maybe you
much
weren't
bigger when we
smiling a little
started.
earlier.
It's a grimace.
It's a grimace, but it's okay.
Jill said,
It's okay.
you are angels for sure.
Yeah.
You really
We'll
are.
have to tell our
and
husbands that, right?
Yeah.
Missy? We're angels.
that's right. Thank you both so very much. We'll be sure to share this with as many people as we can, because
Yes.
what you're doing is pretty incredible.
It is.
Thanks for being with us today.
Oh, thanks so much for the opportunity.
You bet. Bye-bye.
It was nice to meet you.
Oh my goodness, Jackie.
Wow.
Is that crazy? I mean, just to think about
I just have chills. I said, what a
know.
great way
Yes.
to enlighten your day, for sure.
Absolutely. And we want to encourage all of you at home to share today's episode of 3 at 3
yes.
would you please?
Yes.
I think this is just such an important cause that we can all get behind, for sure.
Well, and it would be even more fun to bring communities together.
Exactly.
You know, than if you find somebody that has unfinished. I mean, the neighbors, like she said,
Yeah.
there were 2 houses down. Can you
Right.
imagine?
No, and they didn't even know.
And they didn't even know.
I mean,
So-
I think that's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah.
Too amazing. You know, as we close for theme number 2, I want to remind you of this quote that I came across through the Loose Ends organization, and it just really touched my heart. And it says this: if we all do one random act of kindness daily, we just might set the world in the right direction.
Amen.
Can't
to
get better than that.
Right, right.
All right. Again, share and share some more, because whether you want to submit a project, be a finisher, or
finisher.
donate, it all counts for
Yes,
sure.
it sure does.
All right. Let's go ahead and wrap up theme number 2, and we'll move into theme number 3 with a few announcements for you, including announcing winners from last week's launch party.
Yay.
So we're
Yeah.
excited to do that. While we do that, let's take a look at the Never Miss Needle Threader on the Baby Lock Altair.
Having trouble threading your needle? Let's talk about the Never Miss Needle Threader from Baby Lock. Pull my thread over here to the left, up and around and down, just following this thread path. It's even numbered for me. Up and back down. Pull the thread back behind the needle bar and over to 7 and cut. Ready to see the magic happen? Push this button. You can find this feature on most of their top-of-the-line machines. Find your Baby Lock machine at My Girlfriend's Quilt Shop and mygirlfriendsquiltshop.com.
Oh my goodness, Jackie, I think I'm going to just be beaming all day long
Oh,
from
I
that
am.
conversation.
I
really
agree
do.
totally with you.
So fun.
It's just made my whole day. I wish we would have started the day.
Exactly
Instead
that
of
way.
kind of, halfway through the day.
Exactly. And it's not over, my friends, because all this week we have some very special organizations that you may not have heard of before
Yeah.
that we'll be sharing each day. And it's all about being able to use our talents in a way that blesses others.
Yes.
So it's a beautiful theme. All right, Baby Lock Altair, we just took a look
Yes.
at with that Never Miss Needle
I
Threader.
know, isn't that so cool? Yes. So
we love that machine.
But we also have a great deal on that right now.
We do.
Right?
Yes.
And make sure that you cash in on that. You have until the 30th of September.
Exactly.
To get in on that deal.
So just give us a call if you want
yes.
in on the best deal of the century.
It's incredible.
Holy smokes.
It is
on
incredible.
The Altair and the Triumph, because
Yes.
these were event model machines
Yes.
from Tug. And so,
Yeah.
like Jackie said, you have through the 30th. So give us a call, or if you looked in last night's newsletter, we also put in a coupon code you could use that will take off additional money, plus you're going to get Comet Sold
Well,
credit.
I said the credits.
All next year.
I said the credits are,
Like,
are
sign me up.
incredible for sure. I said it's almost tempting to get another
Yeah,
Triumph
right.
machine. I'm like going, wow.
Well, hey, you know what? If you've got lots of projects to finish,
I said
take them to the finish line,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
All
Be
right.
a finisher.
Be a finisher. I love
sure.
that. I love that. All right. We want to also issue you another call out. Are you ready for this? We have a new call out. We've been asking for difference makers. This time it's a little bit more on the fun side.
Yes.
We want to hear your special hot cocoa concoctions. Say
Yes.
that one 10 times fast,
I know,
Jackie.
right? Well, I couldn't say it.
Hot cocoa concoctions.
Yeah.
Because in a couple of weeks, we have a week that is dedicated all to hot cocoa. Come on.
It's my favorite.
I know that, we're getting a little briskness in the
Yeah.
air. So I'm so excited for you to see the projects that we've come up with to set up the perfect hot cocoa bar.
Yes.
But we want to hear what your concoctions are. What do you add into that hot chocolate? I know some of you have a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but we want to hear it all. So tell us your favorite recipes.
Ooh, I even have one that I love.
Do you?
I can't
You're
wait.
You're going to have to share it with us.
Yeah, I says I can't wait.
Okay.
I love hot cocoa.
Be sure and send an email to us at marketing@mygirlfriendsquiltshop.com, or you could do info, I-N-F-O, at mygirlfriendsquiltshop.com. Either way, they'll both get to us, but share your recipes.
Yes.
I can't wait.
I can't wait either. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It is going to be fun. So, all right, so that's our first call out. And then finally, before we end, we want to share 2 winners from our launch party last week. We had such a good time, and we're giving away a $100 gift card to a lucky person, as well as a brand new Baby Lock Zeal sewing machine to someone. So are you ready? Drum roll, drum roll.
Here we go. Do the gift card
This is the
first.
$100 gift card.
Goes to Mary Strong.
Mary Strong!
Yay,
Congratulations, my friend. Yay! We will get in touch with you and make sure that you receive that gift card. You can use it however you'd like.
Oh, wow. That's
pretty
cool.
cool.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Who doesn't want an extra $100?
Yes.
That's a great thing.
Yeah.
Mary Strong, congratulations.
Yes,
All
congratulations.
right. And the second winner is for the Baby Lock Zeal sewing machine, and that goes to
Beth.
Beth Van Oram. Beth Van Oram.
Congratulations, Beth. That is terrific. Woo.
And, you know, if this is something that, you know, you're like, well, I could use this as a second machine or a travel machine, or maybe you want to teach a new sewer how to sew. This would be the perfect machine to do it on, right?
Well, that's awesome. Yes.
All right. So, all right, friends. Well, I think that wraps things up for us today. Thank you so much for being with us. We hope we've been able to share a little bit of inspiration for you, and maybe think about, you know, where something like this might fit into your life. You know, even if you sign up as a finisher, it doesn't mean that they're going to be contacting you every week, right?
And there's
again,
no
it's
time.
such a localized thing.
Right. It's not.
that
There's
it
not
could
a
be.
time
You
thing.
could sign up, and it could be a long time before you become a finisher.
Yeah.
But knowing that you're available is huge.
It is. It is.
So,
and that will enrich your life as well as those that you do it for.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
All right, friends. Thank you again for being with us. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Keep enjoying doing all the things you love, and we hope to see you real soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.